feel free to ask any questions. Oh, Tim, you're still here. Okay.
Just starting the YouTube and I'm gonna go away.
Oh, cool.
Bye.
Have a good sleep. Stop messaging on your phone.
Hey guys, I'm supposed to translate, so
I'll add you in, Harold, because I did ask and no one responded.
sorry.
I had asked
Tim, if you want, I can do that.
Oh, sorry, I
You
was
can go to rest.
went to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's cool. You're good.
Thanks, man.
Now you're in. Okay. All right.
I want to ask for the nature of seeds. Okay, Laura, I'm not exactly sure I can help you, but can you please let me know what about the nature of seeds? Si quieres, puedes hacer tu pregunta en español.
Quería preguntar a Seiji, que tengo que preguntar.
Ajá.
Hola Seiji, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Quería preguntar, para mí, como están en la mente, en el refrigerador de la mente, las semillas deberían ser mentales, pienso. Pero, por ejemplo, cuando salen de la mente, le ponemos como una etiqueta según las semillas kármicas de las acciones del pasado.
Déjame te traduzco. So her question is the seeds. Thanks, Catherine. The seeds are in the mind. On the mind only school, they're on the mind, but they're not mental things. Yeah. Sigue, dime, Laura.
Sí, pero por ejemplo, ayer poniendo las cosas del súper en la heladera, me levanté y me di un golpe terrible con la puerta y ya pasó a ser algo físico que me pasó en la cabeza. Entonces ya pasó a ser algo físico. ¿Cómo pasan a ser las semillas de naturaleza mental en naturaleza física cuando pasa algo físico? Claro, se transforma en algo físico la semilla.
Wow. Okay, so if they're mental things, then yesterday, for example, I was walking up the stairs and I hit my foot and it hurt me physically. How is it possible that these mental seeds became physical things? Okay, actually, Jero, no, I'll answer in English. Jero, tú traduces, ¿no? Jero translates. Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for asking this question. And at the same time, this is something that I've been asking Geshe Michael to clarify. Because this, as far as I'm understanding, this relates, I don't know if you guys remember of that example. I think it's in ACI 4 of this glass of water, and then you have a human, a preta, and an angel looking at the glass. And if to put it in context, right, Laura? And you start talking about material causes and how mental seeds can become a physical thing. To be honest, this is something that I'm still trying to understand myself. As far as I understand, and if we're talking from the mind only school, what you said in your question, in that school, everything is mental. There is no outside. So I think maybe that's that might be I don't know if this answers your question, but in the mind only school, as far as I understand, everything is happening inside of your mind, and you have an illusion to think that things are outside. So if we're talking about the mind-only school, then it wouldn't really be a physical thing. Now, I believe that here we're talking about two different schools. And to be honest, this is where my knowledge is very limited. I would suggest that you ask this question to someone like Ben Kramer, who's an expert on different schools.
Bueno,
But as far as physical, let me see. To be honest, I don't know. The way that I would answer this question, if I had to give an answer, is the physical pain is also a seed coming out. So no, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know how a mental seed becomes a physical thing. It's, to tell you the truth, this is something, a big question that I have myself. So I would urge you to ask this to someone like Ben, because this is out of my reach, to be honest. Unless, is there someone
sí,
here
porque
that
yo
knows?
pensé que a lo mejor,
Mhm.
porque a lo mejor, viste, cuando la energía mental después se transforma, se materializa, según Einstein, en algo físico. Pensé que a lo mejor era algo así, tan rápido como las 64 veces. Dije, a lo mejor la fórmula esa física de Einstein que se transforma en algo físico, y me pegó en la... O sea, pensé que por ahí era algo así, pero no lo sabía, por eso quería... Y nunca Geshe habló de eso, y bueno, quería, no sé, preguntar por si alguien sabía la respuesta.
The way that I understand this, Laura, is that you have material causes and you have ultimate causes. In terms of the material cause, they have to be the same essence, meaning mental to mental, physical to physical. So in that case,
Sí.
The material cause of your knee hurting is that you hit it against the steps. And then the ultimate cause would be, I don't know, you were not having, I don't know, protecting life in just a small thought. But how one bridges to the other, that's a big question that I've always wanted to. I've asked Geshe a few times.
Eso yo lo entiendo, pero no sé cómo físicamente se produce, era lo que te preguntaban. Bueno, gracias igual, Seiji, ya lo averiguaremos.
See, I asked Ben this question and we started talking about it, but we run out of time.
Bueno, gracias. Sí, muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti, Laura. All right. So, I think we have a question in the chat. Now, let me see if I can translate this on Google. Let's see. Okay, I'm translating this online, so please forgive me if this is not your question. It says, hello, Mr. Seiji. I'd like to ask a question. When I see a person getting old or getting younger, according to the principle of seeds, is it a projection from my consciousness picture? Then this person does not have a state of aging or youth. That is, then we sometimes give examples. This person's failure to adhere to the precepts leading to physical aging. This translation is a bit weird. We don't want to learn from him. No, honestly, I think I'll need to ask our... Oh, wait, let me go to the English channel. Yes, Catherine is translating for me. Yes, thank you. Yep. Hmm. Right. Okay. For the people in the chat, you need to go to the English channel. Well, Catherine just told me a translation of this question, and I'll try to repeat it to make sure I understand it. So I'll try to simplify it. Sometimes I can be seeing someone getting older, and but we say that everything comes from our seeds. So how do we know if that person is planting uh, seeds to get older, or if it's me? Is that's basically the question, Catherine? Hmm. Mhm. Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, so basically the question is, for those of you who didn't switch to the English, oh, it's in the chat. See a person aging, become does not exist on this person. So the first thing to understand here is that whether we see someone getting older or younger does not has nothing to do with their seeds. Is the way that if we see them getting older or younger is because of our seeds. I'll give you an example. So it could be the case that I see, for example, Geshe Michael getting older because I don't have enough seeds in my mind to um, to see him getting younger, or even to see him as a classical Buddha, right? But at the same time, he himself could be seeing himself as a 16-year-old super young guy that is in perfect health, that in fact is not a guy. He could see himself as a Buddha, for example. And it's the same example as the pen, right? I see it as a pen. Well, in this case, I see that as a chew toy, but he could see it as a pen. So that's the problem with that. We never really know who is who or which seeds they're planting. We can only know what we're planting. And that's a good, seeing other people, I think, is a very good indication of what type of seeds we are planting. If we see a lot of young people, happy people, it means that we're planting seeds to protect life, to have happiness around us. If we're around grumpy people, it means that we're planting seeds for anger, which happens to me, right? So that's pretty much it. This is the same concept of the pen applied to people, the way they see themselves. And now there's also the possibility that I could see someone getting older and they're seeing themselves getting older, meaning we both have the same bad seeds of seeing each other or that person getting older. So yeah, that would be it. Main thing, if you want to see young people around you, try to protect life as much as you can. Well, it could be also, if you, when you say young, you mean beautiful or attractive. That could also be linked to patience. The name of the game here is, as we are every second, there's 65 seeds ripening. The what we need to do is to plant seeds faster and stronger than the seeds that we are using up, so that technically that's how we can go beyond the being aging in death. For example, if you guys remember Su Geng's book, that's how you turn the wheel back with a correct understanding of where things come from and planting the seeds that are of the opposite of what we don't want. Let me see if I answer all the questions. Explain philosophical problem from his point of view. So yeah, so for example, another example to exemplify this is, I have a slight colorblind. I'm slightly colorblind. So it means that certain colors I see slightly different. But then these when I started learning about seeds, this got me thinking: is the red that I'm seeing the same as the red that Hero is seeing, for example? It could be technically true that my blue for him looks red, but because I've seen it all the time and I was taught that that is red, and he was taught that that was red, we both say, oh, we're in agreement. This is a red book here. This is red. But we could technically be seeing two different things. And in my case, because I'm colorblind, I am. Nonetheless, we're calling this red. So I don't know. That's some food for thought. Something that I've been thinking about lately. It's the same thing. It depends. It's 100%, according to the high school. 100% are seeds. All right. If you have any other questions, please write them on the chat. Going to see. Or you can also just unmute your mic and ask your question live as well. Seems that mainly we have people from Pure Gold team. Oh, you know what? Something else that is in this question. Sometimes give examples of people getting old because they don't keep their vows. So let's say that you are a big question is, can you really tell around you who is an enlightened being or not? Can you really certainly say that? That's part of our philosophy, right? The answer is not really. You can have hints. You can have big suspicion that someone is, but you can never really tell until you can see that directly. So what does that mean? That we never know who might be apparently looking as not respecting their vows, or maybe they're doing, maybe they're doing it out of bad motivation, but there's also the option that maybe they're doing to teach us a lesson. In fact, in DCI, for example, we have this life tool called anger helpers. That yes, we have people, for example, in our life that do these things. We all have these people, right, that do things that make us angry. And one option is it's bad seeds. The conventional, well, not the conventional, the classical example is that we have bad seeds to see these people ripening in our lives to make us angry. Then it's when we take it to the next level and we say, can I see this person purposefully being someone so advanced that they can see that if they come now and make me angry now, these seeds, for example, that I had to, let's say that I yelled at my kid, which I haven't done, thankfully. But let's say that I did, and it was going to ripen as someone hitting me on the road. If the seed doubles every 24 hours, it was going to ripen as someone hitting me on the road while I'm driving and killing me. Now, let's say that there's someone very special in my life that can see that, and they say, okay, in order to help Seiji burn this bad seed prematurely, because he's so stubborn, he doesn't do floor powers, I will ripen now as someone that makes him angry a lot, for him to burn up this seed and get angry as opposed to get hit by a car. Can you, and the question comes when we teach this life tool, can you prove it? Absolutely not. But it's possible completely. You never know which case it is. So it's always good to always bring it back to our seeds. And yeah, from time to time, if you can, try to sprinkle this idea that maybe there are special people around you doing unconventional things to help you. So, yeah.
Seiji, can I ask? Yes.
Yes, of course. Hi, Joy.
Nice to see you.
Oh, good to see you too.
Yes. This morning, Geshe-la mentioned about nirvana and samsara. It says that in Madhyamika, this samsara and nirvana themselves has no nature. And but he said by nature we have to give up samsara and take up nirvana. And also, he also mentioned that those people who in the process of direct perception of emptiness, then their mind, for them, there's no difference between samsara and nirvana. But this part, I think, is very confusing. Just could you explain a little bit?
Oh, was that during Sugeng's class, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so just to make sure I understand your question, what does it mean? That why when you're in the direct perception of emptiness, nirvana and samsara don't exist? Is that what he said? Don't exist?
He said they have no difference. They just
Right.
they distinguish between samsara and the nirvana. Like
Right.
they actually.
Well, I cannot tell you for sure because I haven't seen emptiness myself, but for what I've read, your mind is completely in another place. In fact, they say that you don't even have a conception of yourself because you're in such a special place to see emptiness. And again, I don't know what this place is firsthand because I haven't had this experience. But my guess is if you're not even aware that it's joy thinking, then it must be that there's no normal conceptions in this space, this special place of seeing ultimate reality, which is a lack. You know, it's that's as far as I understand, right? Using my logic of all the other stuff that I've learned, you're seeing something that is not there. How does that look or feel? And your mind needs to be in a place where you don't even have a conception of yourself. So with those two things, to be honest, I don't know how that would feel or see, but I'm assuming that since you cannot have even this conception and you're already in a different reality, that no normal thing is really there, because there's no, it's just in the lack, right? In emptiness directly. So that's how I took that part. What do you think?
I don't know. So I asked, but there's another part of the question. It's about samsara and nirvana in Madhyamika. They have no nature by themselves, including those branches of each the circle of life, the wheel of life, each of the branches, and then
Right.
but they don't have self nature. But we still, by nature, we still have to give up samsara and to take up nirvana. For this part, I'm quite confused as well.
Oh, yeah. Oof, yeah. Oh my God, you're getting super deep. So, yes, in Madhyamika, and by the way, I think he was referring to the Prasangika, right? The highest school of Madhyamika, where they say that nothing has a nature on their own, including emptiness. Therefore, that would mean that neither nirvana nor samsara have a nature on their own, meaning they don't come from themselves, which is easy to fall into that trap. So what do you say? By nature, we need to give up nirvana and samsara and go to nirvana. Well, not necessarily. I mean, it's good if you don't want to have suffering, but you don't need to by nature do it. You know what I mean? Of course, everybody wants to, and everybody should, but I don't think you could say by nature you should, because if you're saying by nature, you're already giving it some sort of self-existence. Remember, I think it was like 4 terms ago in Nick's text that we were discussing the difference between the independent part of the mind only, of the middle way, and then the consequence part. Or was it in Ben's text? In one of those texts, they're saying you need to say things don't exist really for people to understand you. For example, in the Dhammapada Sutra, that if you read it and you don't know any explanation, you don't understand, right? So some people would say you need to say things don't exist from their own side, and I need that explanation. But the point that they were doing in that debate was that when you say really, you think that the word really has a power on their own side. So if you need to say really, then you're already seeing that word as having some nature of their own. Oh, did my internet fail? So I would say the same thing applies here. I don't know if my internet disconnected.
Yeah, you freeze a little bit.
Oh,
But you
uh-oh.
anyway.
What was the last thing you heard?
It's actually because they have no self nature. So
Mhm.
do we still need to give up this samsara and to take up this nirvana if they have no nature themselves?
Mhm. Well, just because they don't have no nature, it doesn't mean that they don't exist, right? So I always try to remember this. The car on the street or the bus on the highway has no nature on their own. But because of my seats, if I go stand on the I-17 highway, I'll get killed because I have the seats for things to, even though they don't have a nature, they still hurt. Or opposite, my son Maitri has no nature of his own, yet when he smiles, it makes me feel the best. So just because something doesn't have a nature on their own, it doesn't mean they don't exist and that they don't affect us. Of course, I mean, this is ultimately a personal choice, right? I think we all want to get away from all this suffering and reach this place of completely getting rid of our mental negativities. I know for sure I want to. I'm tired of getting tired and angry and blah, 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 old. I don't know if that answers your question, Joy.
Yes, I'm still cooking.
Oh, just remember, honestly, when it's easy to get lost in philosophy, I think it's always good to, like Geshe Michael says, always take it back to the kitchen. Yes, they don't have a nature, but they still work. They still hurt you or give you the most immense bliss. Or, you know what I mean?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Let me see. Bridge. If I stay up late to engage in hygiene and coffee meditation in order to welcome the arrival of family, will this plant the seed to harm life? If I stay up late to engage in hygiene, coffee meditation, in order no. Unless I'm understanding this question wrong, you're saying that maybe I don't understand the question. If you stay up late, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for the extra explanation, Catherine. Well, I would say it depends on your motivation and how you throughout the staying up late part. If you're doing this because you want to take care of your family, of course not. This is not me, right? But I know a few people, at least Geshe Michael or people like yeah, one of the big sponsors. They sleep very little, if any, and they have planted the seeds that I think they don't need sleep, honestly. So remember, there is no connection between sleeping, between sleeping and having a healthy life. necessarily by its own side. For me, things ripen in a way that I do need to get sleep to have a healthy life. But it could be that if I plant the right seeds, this is not the case. I could stay up all night doing projects to help the world, and my health will get better and better. And again, this is not something that I've been able to achieve. But for example, honestly, I doubt. I question sometimes whether Geshe Michael sleeps or not. Sometimes he just sends emails like in 2-3 in the morning, and he's doing. You know that he's doing. He's working tirelessly to help people, and his health is great, honestly. So going back to your question, staying up late to clean and to prepare the home for your family, no, it plants great seeds. Often because we stay up late and then we start to feel tired. Remember that because the seed planted of staying up late and taking care of your family is different, is not the cause for feeling tired. So remember the time gap. This seed of taking care of your family will ripen later as someone taking care of you and cleaning your house, which will make your life a lot healthier. So I would say no, definitely. It doesn't, if you have the right motivation, then no. If, and I do this sometimes, I stay up late washing the dishes, but I'm all angry. Then I am helping wash the dishes, create a nice space, but at the same time, I'm planting seeds of anger, which burn an incredible amount of good seeds. So in this case, I set up late, planted seeds for protecting life, and at the same time, planted seeds for really, really bad seeds to come out. So it all depends on the quality of how you stay up late to do this. Let me see. Joy asks, how do you balance your personal practice and work? Well, one of the big problems that the people working in the worldview organizations have is that we're kind of workaholics. It's hard. Well, I don't know. For me particularly, now someone that has been helping me is my son, Maitri. He forces me to take breaks, and I see him as a beautiful personal practice. And to be honest, I'm very lucky that my work is also personal practice. So I try to have a little bit of meditation, exercise, which I haven't lately, honestly. But I would say balance your personal practice and work. The best seed, in my opinion, would be to plant the seeds so that they are both. I mean, most of the people on this call right now, their work and their personal practice is the same thing. I mean, look at, I don't know if Bob is still here. Look at Bob, he's super healthy, and his job is to teach yoga, and so there's no line between personal practice and work. So I would say the best seed is to plant something for both. And again, I need to take care of more of my physical health, but working on that. It's harder having a kid, but I'm getting back to that. Okay, next question is when we do the 4 steps, the first step is to identify our goals. How to identify what we really want in our heart, especially when sometimes it seems that you have several goals at the same time. Oh, this is a great question. Thank you for asking this question. So I would say it depends on where you're at in your 4-step practice. If this is the first time or one of the first times that you try the 4 steps, I have an advice for you. Try to go for the low-hanging fruit. I don't know if this idea translates. Meaning, try to go for something that is, for example, don't go for, I want to end world inequity or climate change, the big things. Try to go for something that is fairly easy to achieve and that is measurable. For example, I want to double my income, or I want to get a boyfriend, something that you can see, did it work or did it not? If you're in the beginning stages of using the 4 steps, concentrate on one and make sure that you do the 4 steps really well, particularly coffee meditation. And then once you start seeing the result, then it's when you try to increase it both in size, meaning you want more, like I don't know, as you say, oh, now I want to double my income, or I want to have, I don't know, 2 cars or whatever. So then you start to going for more ambitious goals. Or you say, I want to have a partner and I want my friend to have a partner, or you start to increase your goals, and then you can start having many 4-step plans. So on the other hand, if you have experience with the 4 steps already and you feel pretty confident, then you can have several 4 steps at the same time. For me, it's very useful to keep a what we call in DCI a 3 times book or a 6 times book. A 6-time book in the traditional sense is to track your vows, right? But there's a very cool invention that Geshe Michael did for DCI called the 3 times book, where you set up, let's say that you have 2 or 3 4-step plans, and 3 times a day you stop and think, am I doing the right things to reach this goal, to do these 4 steps? So that's a cool tip, I think. Set up alarms during the day, making sure that you are in fact doing the 4 steps for different things, and keep track on them, and then just wait for the results. I mean, most of the people that I know here, they're working on many things. It's like, we want to be able to grow in our companies. We want to be able to have a happy life with a family. We want to be able to learn Tibetan. So you can set up different 4-step plans. And one of the coolest things is the more you try to find people that are like you, sometimes you can, we call it kill 2 birds with 1 stone, meaning, for example, Joy and me, right? We want very similar things, I would say, because we're working for the same companies, etc., etc. So if I take her as my karmic partner, then most likely she has 2 or 3 goals that are the same. So I will help her in that 1 hour going to Starbucks. I will help her with all these 3 things. So I use my karmic, I don't use, I take advantage of my karmic partner to plant several seeds. Oh, sorry, am I speaking too fast? Yes. One of my, let me see. Take care, Seiji. Thank you. One of my relatives passed away this morning. He did a really bad thing when he was alive, even though we're not so close. But I still think that I could do something for him. What should I do to help him? So when, to be honest, when someone has already passed, it's kind of hard, but they do have, well, first thing, and this comes into an area that I'm not experienced in, but I have seen monks do that. For example, one of the yes. So sorry to hear. First of all, I'm sorry to hear about this. I have seen. I'll give you two answers. The first one is there's a monk called Geshe Lothar, who was one of the teachers of Geshe Michael, and he has this special ability. They say this special ability to see spirits, and he does this ritual where he helps them transition better. So this is definitely something that you can do. What can you do now? Please find someone that will help you translate this email. Send it to Geshe Michael. Send him the name and a photo, if you have, of this person, so that they can send it in. And it's good. This is not a paid service, but it's good to send money so that they can send him money to pay for the supplies, for him to do this ritual, and they can help the spirit pass on. Now, in terms of this thing, he did a really bad thing when he was alive. Remember that it's our seeds projecting that. So yes, it could be the case that you see him as doing something bad, and he saw himself doing something bad for sure. Then in that case, depending on what were the seeds of closer to death, will be usually the ones that define the next what happens next, right? But there is also a possibility that this goes back to what we were talking about before. It could be the case that you in your seats could see this person do something bad. But again, I would invite you to try to practice this anger helper concept. Try to ask yourself, if this person was not who I think it was, and maybe he was someone extremely advanced, maybe he was enlightened, and he pretended to do this thing. What is the lesson that someone like that why would someone like that do this to teach me? So, and again, we cannot really know whether one or the other case is true, because the only person who really knows is the people planting the seeds. But in our case, what you can do is try. That's how I like to what I like to do. Try to get into this mindset and say, if this person is not what he seemed to be, why did he do that? What was the teaching that he wanted to give me? And by that, you're planting the most incredible seeds to eventually see everyone truly as these perfect enlightened people, without you needing to force it with your mind, right? So those are the two advices I have. First one, if it is the case that this person was who they seem to be, please send this to Geshe Michael, and also try. I mean, you can do both, right? Try to think of that. What was the lesson that I was trying to, that an enlightened being would want me to do? It could be to not do it myself. It could be to see what happens when someone does this. Therefore, make a promise to never do that in my life. It could be, it's things that already ripen. I mean, they already ripen, right? The thing we can control is what seeds we plant after that. And again, I'm really sorry to hear about this Yeah. Other advices that I've heard Geshe Michael said is to when someone is in the process of dying or has gone, to try to think of all the, instead of, don't try to think of the bad things they did, but the good things, and somehow if they are, like, so that if they're somehow near, their mind can go to that. I did this with my grandfather when he was in his deathbed. He went to war. He was Japanese, and he was in the army. And in the process of his death, I was lucky to be able to be near him, and I just kept to take his mind back to the good things he did. I told him, "Look, you moved to Mexico. You had nothing because you came as a war." The good values of oh 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 okay, sorry. So yeah, so like I said, I did this with my grandfather when he was in his deathbed, and you can do this with this person too in your mind, right? Thanking them for all the good things they did. In the case of my grandfather, he taught me how to work hard, which was very in the Japanese culture. He made a good living for my parents, and they made a good living for us. They had nothing, and my parents were able to send me to very good universities, give me the best education, give nothing ever. I never had anything missing. So I would say also try to do this so that they say that people stay in the in-between state in the bardo up to 49 days. So these days are very crucial. That's why I was telling you about sending the photo and name to Geshe-la, and at the same time you trying to help them remember the good things they did in order for their mind to be in a good state. Sorry to hear, Sari, and I hope everything goes well. Okay. All right, so it's 9:33. We can go, unless someone has a question, we can go, and we will see you all tomorrow. No, your evening for those in Asia. We'll see you tonight. And for the people in the Americas, see you tomorrow. Thank you, translators. I'm sorry that I started talking fast. All right. Thank you all. Have a good night.